Hello again, math champions. It's me, Pencil, back for part 2 of the Tiffin 11 Plus Stage 1 math paper. You've already smashed through the first 20 questions, amazing work. Now, we're tackling questions 20 all the way to 50. This is where the paper gets a little trickier, but don't worry, you've got me by your side and together we'll crack them step by step. So sharpen your minds, stay focused, and let's dive straight in. Question 21. A restaurant is hosting a large party. They have 23 tables seating 14 people each and 21 tables seating 16 people each. How many people are seated at the party? Now, to solve this problem, we use long multiplication. So we have to go for 23 multiplied by 14. Instantly, we know 3 times 4 is 12. We carry the 1. 2 times 4 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. We put the place value holder. 3 times 1 is 3. And 2 times 1 is 2. Before adding that all on, and we get 322. Marvelous. So if we add 322 together, now to find the total number of people at the tables seating 16, we have to multiply 21 by 16. So we have 23 and 14 and 21 and 16. So once again, 1 times 6 is 6, 2 times 6 is 12. We put the place value holder, 1 times 1 is 1 and 2 times 1 is 2. Adding that together gives us 336. So now if we add these two together, we get 658 as our total, and D is our answer. I hope this multi-stage problem was clear. Let's now move over to question 22. Multiply 4, 3 over 7 and 5. So essentially what we need to do here is, one of the main methods would be to use repeated addition. And what we see here is having 4, 3 over 7, but 5 times. And this means that we can separate the whole from the parts, and we see that 4, 3 over 7 times 5 is the same as saying 5 times by 4, which is 20, and then 5 times by 3 over 7, which is 15 over 7. Remember, when you're multiplying a whole number by a fraction, we just multiply the numerator by the whole number. Now finally, we can turn the improper fraction into a mixed number. So this is our improper fraction here. And we know that 15 over 7 can be seen as 2, 1 over 7. If we then add that to 20, that's 22 and 1 over 7. And D is our answer. Okay, question 23. A pizza costs £9.80. If two friends share the cost equally and each pays with a £10 note, how much change does each person receive? So to solve this problem, we need to find the amount each of them pays. Now the two friends split the £9.80 equally. So £9.80 divided by 2 gives us £4.90. So each friend receives £5.10. And that's the topic of money. Question 24. Thomas counted all the bowls they used in their house each morning. The pictogram below shows the results. On Thursday, there were 7 more bowls than there were on Tuesday. How many pictures would Thomas need to draw to represent the bowls on Thursday? So we're told that there were 7 more bowls on Thursday than there were on Tuesday. So let's start by finding how many bowls were used on Tuesday. Now, we know that each symbol in the pictogram represents 2 bowls. But in the Tuesday row, there's half a symbol. So we know that 1 was used. And now we need to add 7 to this number. 1 plus 7 is 8. And finally, we need to work out how many pictures we need to represent 8 bowls, remembering that each bowl represents 2 bowls. So simply we have 8 divided by 2, which gives us 4, and D is our answer. Therefore, Thomas would need to draw 4 pictures to represent the bowls on Thursday. Okay, question 25. What are the coordinates of A on the rectangle below? Now, pairs of coordinates are always written in the brackets where you have x, y. In a rectangle, the opposite sides are the same lengths. So by looking at the two coordinates already on the graph, we can work out where A is. Now, to find the x-coordinate, we look at the vertex directly below, which would be the point -3. Therefore, then we can look at the y-coordinates of the vertex on the right of the missing point, and that is 4. Therefore, the coordinates of A would be -3, 4. And that's because we're taking the x-axis from here and the y-axis from here, and we are good to go. Question 26. 9 minus 7/8. Now, we are asked to subtract a proper fraction from a whole number. And we can do this if we convert 9 into a fraction with the same denominator. So what are we going to do? We are going to multiply 9 by 8. And that would give us 72 divided by 8. Because 72 divided by 8 is 9. We can now find the difference of the fractions by subtracting the numerators like normal numbers. And that would give us 65/8, and C is our answer. You're doing really well, team. Don't forget to pause the video at any time, attempt the question, and then press play when you're ready to see the working out. So these following pairs of coordinates have all been translated in the same way. What are the missing coordinates marked by the question mark symbols? So first we work out the translation. To get from 1, something to 6, 2, we must add 5 to the x coordinate. To get from the second one, where you got a blank, 3 to 3 to 5, we must add 2 to the y coordinate. So the translation is 5 right and 2 up. So for that reason, we have -5, which gives us 4. And remember we said 2 up, so we are going to go 2 down, and that's 2. So 4, 2, and that is our answer. Question 28. In 2022, Anna slept for a total of 2,319 hours, and Ben slept for 2,939 hours. In 2023, Anna slept for 573 more hours, and Ben slept for 43 more hours than last year. How many more hours did Ben sleep than Anna in 2023? So instantly, what we will do is we will add Anna's hours. 2,319 plus 573, which gives us 2,892. And we do the same for Ben, which is 2,939 plus 43, which is 2,982. We can now find how many more hours Ben slept than Anna in 2023 by subtracting Anna's number from Ben's. So that there would be 2,982 minus 2,892, giving us 90. So Ben slept for 90 more hours than Anna in 2023. Question 29. So to solve this question, we need to remember BIDMAS. So this stands for brackets, indices, division and multiplication, and addition and subtraction. So first we're going to do our indices, which is 36. We do division. So 30 divided by 3 is 10. We keep the plus sign here. And that leaves us with 36 plus 10 minus 2. Then we do the addition and subtractions from left to right. So 36 plus 10 is 46. Take away 2 is 44. And that's our order of operation question completed. Question 30. The pie chart below shows the favorite seasons of 60 students. If 3 students change their answer from winter to spring, how many students now prefer spring? So winter to spring. So we must first identify what fraction is represented by students whose favorite season is spring. And we can see that the angle for the spring segment is 150 degrees. And we know that a full circle like a pie chart is 360. So this fraction will be 150 over 360, which is the same as 5 over 12 if we divide by 30. This means that 5/12 of the students said their favorite season is spring. So we need to find 5/12 of 60. And that is your winter. So we know 5/12 of 60 is 25. Remember, that's 60 divided by the denominator, which gives us 5. And then you multiply by the numerator, which gives us 25. So remember, this is the original number of students who said their favorite season is spring. Now later, 3 students changed their favorite season from winter to spring. So we just added on. 25 plus 3 is 28. And E is our answer. Question 31. At a cat shelter, there are 12 kittens and 30 adult cats. What proportion of cats in the shelter are kittens? So we know fractions represent the parts of a whole or collection of objects. So to find the total number of cats, we need to add together the number of kittens and the number of adult cats. So we've got 12 and 30, which is 42. So there's 12 kittens, and that is our numerator out of 42. So we know we've got 12 out of 42, which is the same as 2 over 7 if we divide by 6. So 2 over 7 of the cats are kittens. Okay, question 32. My nonna used 1,863 tomatoes to make pasta sauce this year. If 8 tomatoes can make enough pasta sauce to fill 1 jar completely, how many jars does she need to store all of the sauce she made? So we must first figure out how many 8s go into 1,863. So if I just zoom in a little, 1,863 divided by 8. 8, does it go into 1? It does not. But does 8 go into 18? It does 2 times, because that gives you 16. But there's a 2 remainder. Does 8 go into 26? Yes, it does. 3 times, because 8 times 3 is 24. Again, we have 2 as a remainder. And does 8 go into 23? Yes, it does, and that's twice, with the remainder being 7. So, with this being said, this means Nonna will fill 232 jars completely, but we need another jar for the remaining 7 tomatoes. So it's 233 jars this year. And that's a way to go through your short division. Question 33. Which of the 2 solids below have the same number of vertices? Well, a vertex is a point where 2 or more edges meet. That's also known as a corner. So let's look at each of the solids above and count how many vertices they have. We know A is a sphere, and it has no edges and therefore no corners. We know that B is a triangle-based pyramid, and it has 3 vertices on the base and 1 at the top, so you can say 4 in total. C is a cylinder. It has no vertices because 2 circular edges never meet. D is a cone. It has 1 vertex at the top. And E is a pentagonal-based pyramid. It has 5 vertices on the base and 1 at the top, so 6 in total. So A, the sphere, and C, the cylinder, have the same number of vertices, both having 0. Okay, question 34. If cookies come in packs of 10 and sweets come in packs of 15, what is the smallest number of goodie bags I can make without wasting any cookies or sweets? So now this topic is multiples. And a multiple of a number is a product of that number and an integer. So a common multiple is what we're looking for, and that is shared by these two or more numbers. So we need to find the lowest common multiple of 10 and 15. And this is because that will represent the lowest number that both 10 and 15 divide into exactly with no remainder. And so this will be the lowest number of goodie bags that can be made without wasting any of either, as long as every goodie bag has one cookie and one sweet. So let's write this out then. We've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60. We've got 15, 30, 45, and 60. And already we see 30 is something that they share. So the answer is 30 goodie bags. Question 35. Emma has 38 cupcakes. And for every strawberry cupcake, she has 5 vanilla cupcakes. And for every chocolate cupcake, she has 3 strawberry cupcakes. How many strawberry cupcakes does she have? So this is a question around ratio. So the ratio of strawberry cupcakes to vanilla cupcakes is 1 to 5. And the ratio of chocolate cupcakes to strawberry cupcakes is 1 to 3. And we can therefore write the ratio of chocolate cupcakes to strawberry cupcakes to vanilla cupcakes as 1, 3, 15. Now, to find the fraction of the total that is strawberry, we add together all of these numbers, and that gives us 19. So that means we can represent this as 3 over 19. And we need to multiply this fraction by the total number of cupcakes, which is 38. Now, the simplistic way to do this is by having 3 multiplied by 38 over 19. Or we can say 3 times 19 times 2 over 19, and we can just cancel out the like terms, which leaves us with 6. Therefore, Emma has 6 strawberry cupcakes. Now, some of these questions do require you to have prior knowledge of how these topics work, but just remember, practice makes perfect, so keep pushing further. Question 36. A park run a choice of 2 routes. The long route is the perimeter of the rectangle, starting and finishing at A, and the short route is the perimeter of this shape, starting and finishing at A. So how much further is the long route? So the distance from E to F is the same as the distance from A to B. So that is 7 kilometers. And likewise from D to C. The distance of the short route is the perimeter of A, B, E, F. And that is coming here. And that there would be 7, 7, 3.5, and 3.5, which gives us 21 in total. The perimeter of the long route is going to be 7 kilometers plus, so I'll do this in a different color here. We've got 7 kilometers plus 2.5 and 3.5, plus 7 again, and 2.5 and 3.5. And that total will give us 26 kilometers. So the difference of 26 and 21 is 5 kilometers. And that's all we have to do here. Okay. Maya bought gardening supplies, and her receipt is shown below. What was the total cost? So all we have to do is essentially put the information given into a table, and we're told the type of gardening supplies, the quantities, so we can go ahead and make an additional column here. So we've got 3 as our quantity. So again, 3 times 3 is 9. 5 times 4 is 20. 2 times 7, 15. 750 is 15. 1 times 4 is 4. And 2 times 3 is 6. By adding this up, we get £54 as total. And there we are, D is our answer. So it's just a matter of multiplying your quantity by your price. Question 38. What is the base length of the parallelogram shown in the image? So to find the base length, we have to use a formula for the area of the parallelogram, which is the base multiplied by the perpendicular height. Now we know the area is 30. We don't have our base, but we know our height is 6. So instantly, if it's a times by 6, we take it over, and that's divide by 6, which gives us our base, which is 5, and B is our answer. And watch out, don't confuse the length of the sloped height with the perpendicular height. The perpendicular height meets the base at a right angle. And that is question 39. The length of each edge of a cube was made 4 times as large. How many times as large did the volume become? So the volume of the cube is found with the following formula, and that's just having the length cubed. If we multiply the length of each side by 4, we can write it as 4 times length cubed. And we can expand the right-hand side of the expression by cubing 4. So 4 cubed is 64 times the length cubed. Therefore, if the length of each edge of the cube was quadrupled, the volume becomes 64 times as large. Question 40. Which of the following answer options is closest to the result of the following? So we're looking for the option that is closest, so we can guess that some level of estimation will be involved. So what I'll start doing is rounding each number of the sum to the nearest whole. So I can just eliminate this here. So we have 6,834. We have 834. We have 34, and we have 4. So again, if we subtract all these values, instantly this would give us 6,000. We then have 34 take away 4. Well, it's a minus, so it's minus 38. And then if we have 6,000 minus 38, that's 5,962. But 5,962 is not one of our answers, so we round it to 5,960, and D is our answer there. Question 41. Look at this number line. What number does the arrow point to? Well, to work out what number this is, we need to know the size of each step on this number line. There are 5 steps between 4.4 and 4.6, which means that moving 5 steps to the right increases the number by 0.2. Now, if we divide 0.2 by the number of steps, we can find the size of each smaller step. So 0.2 divided by 5 would give us 0.04. So the arrow pointing to the number 4 steps along from 4.4 would just be adding your 0.4 once, twice, 3, and 4 times. So that would give us 4.56. Question 42. Noah bought a smartphone that is 40% off. He paid £460 for it. How much was the original price of the smartphone? We know that after a 40% reduction, the new price is £480, which means this is the value of 60% of the phone. And we know that is seen as 3/5. So we're looking for 3/5 of something equaling 480. We can find the original price by first finding 1/5 of the price and then multiplying it by 5. So instantly we do 480 divided by 3. And that gives us 160 before timesing that by 5, which gives us 800. So the original price is £800. Question 43. What is the size of angle BCD? So B to C to D. There we are. So in this quadrilateral, 2 interior angles have a value of A and the other two have a value of b. Now first let's find the size of angle A, because we know angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. So 180 minus 75 gives us 105 degrees. So now we know that A is equal to 105 degrees. So we've substituted that in. We've got 105 and 105. We can then subtract 210 degrees from both sides of the equation. So we have 360 minus 210, which gives us 150. And then we can divide that by 2, and we have 75 degrees. And the reason I've subtracted 210 from 360 degrees is because a quadrilateral adds up to 360 degrees. Okay, question 44. You're doing really, really well, team. Let's keep it up. These ones are a bit of a grab bag, some addition, subdivision. Just keep calm and pencil on. Anna has 20 plain cookies and 28 chocolate cookies. She is packing them into several boxes of the same size. She wants each box to have the same ratio between the two cookie types. What is the greatest number of boxes of cookies that she can pack? So to solve this problem, we need to find the highest common factor of 20 and 28. So instantly, I'm going to get all my factors of 20 and all of my factors of 28. I know this is 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20. And for 28, it's going to be 1, 2, 4, 7, 14, and 28. So now I've gone ahead and done this. Therefore, the largest common factor of 20 and 28 is going to be 4. So Anna can pack 4 boxes of cookies that have the same ratio between the two cookie types, 5 plain cookies for every 7 chocolate cookies. Question 45. What is 4 plus minus 8 minus 12? So we'll solve this question from left to right. We've got 4 plus minus 8, which is the same as 4 minus 8. So this gives us minus 4. We then have minus 4 minus 12. We know 2 negatives give us a positive, so it's minus 4 plus 12, and that gives us positive 8 as our answer. Question 46. What is 4 kilometers squared in meters squared? So we're going to think about what 1 kilometer squared actually means. And that just means 1 kilometer multiplied by 1 kilometer. And we know that 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. So that's saying 1,000 times 1,000 equals 1 million meters squared. So 4 kilometers squared is 4 times larger than 1 kilometer squared. Therefore, to find the equivalent area in meters squared, we need to multiply 1 million by 4. So that would give us 4 million, and E is our answer. Okay, question 47. Which of these fractions is the smallest? So remember, when we're comparing fractions, we normally convert them so they have the same denominator. However, sometimes it is easier to convert them to have the same numerator. So in this question, we can change the numerator of each fraction to 18. And that's because I've noticed that 9, 3, and 2 go into 18. So again, this would be 18 over 20, 18 over 28. Again, we have to do 3 multiplied by 6, 18 over 30, and then 2 multiplied by 9, which is 18 over 27. So now it is easier to compare the fractions, and the number with the biggest denominator is the smallest. So we now know that's going to be 18 over 30, because the number with the biggest denominator is the smallest. but there's no 18 over 30. But we know here that that was converted from 3 over 5, and that is our answer. Okay, question 48. A group of book club members recorded their favorite literary genres and depicted their preferences in the Venn diagram below. What fraction of the book members like 2 different literary genres? Well, we know that a Venn diagram uses overlapping circles to group things between the properties they have. And we have poetry, novel, and autobiography. So we first need to find the total number of club members by adding all of the numbers together. And I've done that for you, and that gives us 40 as our total. Now we need to add up the numbers where only 2 circles overlap. And that's going to be your 1, your 2, and your 5. And that gives us 8 in total. So our fraction is 8 over 40, or if we divide by 8, 1 over 5. So 1/5 of the book club members like 2 different literary genres. Okay, question 49. The top of a mountain is frozen with 500 meters of ice. If the entire frozen top melted into a lake, the volume of water in the lake would be 250 cubic kilometers. How many feet of the frozen mountain top would need to melt to fill a lake with a volume of 50 cubic kilometers? So again, we need to convert 500 meters into feet. And we know for every 5 meters, there's approximately 15 feet. The scale factor is 100, since 500 divided by 5 is 100. So we need to multiply 15 by 100. And we have 1,500. So we now know that 1,500 feet is going to be 250 cubic kilometers. So to get from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, we must divide by 6, because 1,500 divided by 6 gives you 250. So to find the missing value, we multiply 50 by 6, and that gives us 300. Therefore, 300 feet of ice would need to melt to fill 50 cubic kilometers of the lake. So I hope that was clear, and we're now over to our final question. If July 30th is a Sunday, what day of the week is September the 2nd? So let's start by finding the total number of days from July 30th to September the 2nd. And we need to add together the number of days between July 30th and the end of July, and the 2 numbers of days in August, which is 31, and then 2 days in September. So we have 31 days in July, and from July 30th to the end of July is going to be 31 take away 30, so that's 1 day. Therefore, in total, we've got 1 day, we've got 31 days, and we've got 2 from September, so that's 34 days in total. And there are 7 days in a week, so 7 days from the 30th would be a Sunday again. So if we have 35 being a multiple of 7, we know it's 35 days from July 30th, and that would also be Sunday 2. Therefore, 34 days from July 30th would be a Saturday. And that there is our answer, 34 days. And that's it. You've completed the full Tiffin 11 Plus Stage 1 math paper. From quick fire sums to tough puzzles, you showed amazing focus and determination. Remember team, the secret to success here is practice, pacing, and positivity. Every time you go through papers like this, you're leveling up your math superpowers. If you enjoyed working through the second half with me, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the like button and share this video with your friends who are also preparing for the 11 Plus. I'll be back soon with even more math adventures, and until then, keep practicing, keep smiling, and remember, with pencil by your side, you can solve anything.